Baba Vanga, the enigmatic blind seer, left behind a prophecy so chilling it haunts the edges of our collective consciousness. She foresaw a global nuclear war that would erupt with Russia at its deadly heart. A war so catastrophic it could erase nations, civilizations, and hopes in an instant. The world stands on a razor's edge, teetering toward annihilation. Her warning was stark. This would not be just another conflict, but an apocalypse fueled by nuclear fire, an unthinkable nightmare where entire cities vanish in blinding flashes and radioactive clouds choke the skies. The devastation would be swift, merciless, and irreversible, plunging humanity into a darkness from which it may never emerge. Baba Vanga's vision was of a world unraveling from deep mistrust and escalating tensions, where diplomacy shatters and paranoia reigns supreme. The spark could be small, a single misstep, a misunderstood signal. But the result would be the unleashing of weapons designed to end all life as we know it. Russia, with its vast arsenal and strategic power, would be a key player in this fatal cascade. According to Baba Vanga, it would be at the center of a catastrophic decision, one that could ignite an unstoppable chain reaction. The fate of millions and the very survival of the human race would hang by a thread. She described how the skies would darken with mushroom clouds, each blast wiping out countless lives in a heart-stopping instant. Radiation would spread like a silent predator, poisoning everything it touches, soil, water, and air, dooming future generations to sickness and despair. The world would become a barren wasteland. The aftermath would be more than just physical destruction. Societies would crumble, governments collapse, and communication lines would be severed, throwing humanity into chaos. Panic, fear, and hopelessness would grip survivors as they struggle to navigate a world turned hostile and unfamiliar. Baba Vanga's prophecy sends a terrifying message. This war would not respect borders or alliances. No nation, no person would be spared the horrors unleashed. The Cold War's nightmare would morph into a fiery reality, consuming everything in a merciless inferno of nuclear annihilation. Behind the scenes, she hinted, dark political games and secret manipulations would fan the flames of distrust. The very leaders sworn to protect their people might push the world toward destruction, blinded by fear and ambition. This war might be born not from accident alone, but from calculated decisions in shadowy corridors. Yet, amidst the fear, her vision carries a grim warning. Time is running out. The window to prevent this catastrophe is closing fast. The ticking clock of nuclear threat grows louder with each passing day, urging humanity to confront the abyss before it's too late. The prophecy is a brutal mirror held up to our modern world. It reveals how fragile peace truly is, how easily it can shatter under pressure, plunging us into unprecedented horror. The possibility of nuclear war, once unthinkable, now lurks dangerously close. No longer a distant nightmare, but a looming reality. Baba Vanga's chilling words demand attention. The choices of today's leaders, the rise of nationalism, the arms race, all weave a tapestry that could unravel civilization. Her vision forces us to ask if humanity has the wisdom to pull back from the brink, or if we are destined to repeat history's darkest chapter. Her prophecy about Russia's role is particularly haunting. With geopolitical tensions simmering, the possibility of conflict escalating into nuclear exchange cannot be ignored. The world watches nervously as alliances shift and rhetoric hardens, fearing the devastating fallout of a miscalculation. Radiation fallout would linger like a curse on the planet, poisoning water sources and food supplies, leaving scorched Earth incapable of sustaining life. This is not a battle fought with honor, but an indiscriminate slaughter that will scar the Earth for centuries to come, a wound too deep to heal. The human cost would be unthinkable. Millions dead in the initial strikes, countless more suffering from radiation sickness and famine in the aftermath. The social fabric would tear apart as trust dissolves and survival instincts take over. Fear and desperation would become the new normal. In Baba Vanga's vision, the war's chaos would paralyze governments, leading to power vacuums and lawlessness. Organized society would crumble under the weight of destruction, leaving survivors vulnerable to hunger, disease, and violence. The nightmare would stretch far beyond the battlefield. She warned that this nuclear war would mark a turning point, a horrifying judgment on humanity's reckless pursuit of power. It is a grim reminder that the technology we created to protect ourselves could instead become our ultimate executioner, ending life on a scale never imagined. Yet this terrifying prophecy is more than doom and despair. It is a desperate plea. It urges us to awaken from complacency, to confront the harsh reality of nuclear danger before it's too late. The path to survival lies in breaking the cycle of hatred and mistrust before the flames ignite. Baba Vanga's vision implies that the war would shatter not only the physical world, but the moral compass of humanity. We risk losing our shared humanity in the fires of conflict, plunging into darkness unless we choose a different path, one of peace, humility, and global unity. The prophecy's power lies in its warning. Nuclear weapons hold the power to destroy everything we cherish. Yet, the choice remains with us, to surrender to fear and destruction, or to rise above and forge a future free from the threat of annihilation. This is not a distant tale, but an urgent call echoing through time. As tensions rise and powers posture, the risk of a nuclear apocalypse grows. Baba Vanga's words should shake us to our core and ignite a relentless demand for peace before the nightmare unfolds. She foresaw how the consequences would ripple across generations, leaving scars deep in the psyche of survivors and their descendants. The trauma of nuclear war would haunt humanity long after the bombs fall, a dark legacy reminding us of what was lost and why peace is priceless. The prophecy strikes fear because it feels painfully plausible in today's world. With new arms races and fragile alliances, the tinder is dry and waiting for a spark. Baba Vanga's chilling warning urges the world to extinguish that spark before it consumes all life. Baba Vanga's vision warns that nuclear war could become the final chapter of human arrogance, a reckoning where technology outpaces wisdom and diplomacy, fails under the weight of suspicion and pride. The future she foresaw is a razor-thin line between survival and extinction. This prophecy demands more than hope. It demands action. It forces governments and individuals alike to confront the terrifying possibility and take every measure to avoid the nightmare. The survival of civilization depends on heeding this dire warning with urgency. Her haunting prediction is a stark reminder. Nuclear war is not just a political issue, but an existential threat. It challenges humanity to examine its path and choose survival through restraint, dialogue, and trust, values too often forgotten in the race for power. Baba Vanga's prophecy about Russia's involvement sends a cold, unavoidable truth. Those wielding nuclear arsenals carry the fate of billions in their hands. One wrong move, one lapse in judgment, and the world as we know it could vanish forever into ash and silence. The aftermath would see a devastated planet, its air toxic, its waters poisoned, and its lands barren. Life would cling on in shadows, struggling against the relentless grip of radiation. The Earth itself would become a warning monument to the horrors unleashed by nuclear wrath. This vision of destruction challenges every viewer to face the terrifying reality lurking beneath political rhetoric. It shatters illusions of safety and reminds us that peace is fragile, war is brutal, and the cost of failure is absolute annihilation. Baba Vanga's prophecy shakes the foundations of complacency. It tells a hard truth. The risk of nuclear conflict is no longer science fiction, but a real, terrifying possibility, demanding urgent, uncompromising action. The prophetic warning about Russia's role exposes the vulnerability of global security. It underscores the volatile nature of power and the razor-thin margin between peace and catastrophic conflict, a margin we must fiercely protect. Her vision warns of a world consumed by fear, mistrust, and destruction unless humanity chooses a different course. It demands that we confront the terrifying consequences of nuclear war and commit to preventing its horrific realization. Baba Vanga's chilling prophecy forces us to look into the abyss. It beckons us to recognize the dire cost of conflict and to seize the fragile chance for peace before the nuclear firestorm turns our world to ash. The fate of the world hangs precariously, caught between hope and horror. Her words are a wake-up call. The apocalypse is not inevitable, but it is dangerously close. Only courage, wisdom, and unity can prevent the nightmare Baba Vanga predicted. This prophecy is a hard-hitting, urgent plea, one that cannot be ignored. It demands we awaken to the terrifying reality of nuclear war involving Russia and act decisively to ensure humanity's survival against the darkest of fates.